Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your friendly neighborhood vault dweller, Doczilla, and I'm here with a follow-up of my Fallout 4 trailer dissection. E3 just happened, they just dropped all the Fallout 4 information. It was amazing, it blew me away. They've got a lot of great stuff in store for us come November. They're taking a lot of bold new steps in this franchise. Whether or not it'll pay off is up to us, mainly. But I think it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait for November. There's a lot of new stuff that we're going to cover in this that we didn't see in the trailer. There's a lot of stuff that we saw in the trailer that we're going to cover. And finally, we're going to cover a lot of stuff that we thought might be in here thanks to the trailer and thanks to a lot of stuff, a little bits, details in the E3 panel itself. There was a lot of gameplay, there was a lot of showing off, and frankly, after all this time, they've earned the right to just show off what they've got for us. We're going to get started right away, so hold on, because this is going to be a wild ride from start to finish. The first thing I want to talk about is the thing that I'm most excited to see, which is all the customization you can do in this game. Fallout 4 is promising us not just customizable weapons and armor, it's promising us our own settlements. You get to build up your own house, you get to build up your own group of people in the wasteland, bring in traders, bring in entertainment, bring in food, all from scratch. It's really fascinating because that's something I didn't even think of seeing in a Fallout game ever before. But it does make a great use of all the excess stuff lying around. I mean, the Wasteland, there's a bunch of extra crap lying around, usually just for the rocket launcher, but now everything has a purpose. Steel, cloth, aluminum, rubber, all of that can be harvested from any regular item you find in the Wasteland. Everything is now a resource that you can harvest and, get to make your own stuff with. It's a really interesting turn for it. We saw the armor customization coming in the trailer. There's a lot about that I want to talk about, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. But right now, I'll just say that I'm really excited to see all the new weapons we get to play with, all the new stuff we get to work with as far as town defense goes. Here's hoping it's not just going to be like a tower defense minigame or anything. Here's hoping it's going to be its own actual thing. It's really exciting to see this. It's a different step for Fallout. I didn't really think that a Fallout game would do this, but the more I think about it, the more it works. It's sort of a Sims-style setup to living in the Wasteland, which is pretty exciting for me. And speaking of Sims, let's talk about character creation and the hero themselves. So our valiant hero, whoever he or she is once again created entirely by you. But I do mean entirely. This is a very Sims-style character creation where you accentuate or decentuate, I think that's the word, all the different features on the person. This means that your character is not only going to be completely your own, but it's not coming with any sort of presets. You get to make it all your own based on a bunch of sliders and stuff, which I like a lot. You're also going to get to design their partner, whoever that is, and the game developers have made it so that the baby I mentioned in the Fallout trailer will be generated from both of these characters. So, in essence, your two characters are, in a weird way, making their own little pride and joy. Over 1,000 names have been recorded. They're not skipping on anything, sparing no expense and pulling no punches with this. This character will be fully voiced, so will the rest of the Wasteland. Anything you choose to happen will, be voiced in this game, which I'm guessing is a big step up from Skyrim when we heard the same voice actor over and over again. Guessing they heard that little critique. This character is going to be from before the war. Now, we're not sure how they survived 200 years alone in Vault 111, but we do know that they were in the war before and now they're here. Which brings an interesting question into something I mentioned in the Fallout trailer. In the monologue we were given, or the monologue that was leaked, he does mention that he's a soldier. He does mention that, he or she is going to be a soldier. Does this mean that our character will be joining the Enclave? If they were someone who fell in with the Enclave during that time, would they still be looking for the government? Or would they be looking for the government right now? They might be looking for some form of continuation after 200 years of being put on ice or something, and are looking for some form of, continuity, which is why they'd seek out the Enclave. Is our character looking for the Enclave? And if so, are we fighting the Brotherhood of Steel? It's a distinct possibility that we are. We see this guy gets invited into a Vault 111 by a Vault Tech guy personally, and all those spots were usually reserved for people working for the Enclave. So either he knows it or not, he's probably already employed by these guys, if he's employed by the US government. But are we going to be fighting the Brotherhood in this game? Has the Brotherhood arrived in Boston? That's a distinct possibility. In some screenshots, we do see that one of the enemies is titled Brotherhood Initiate. If this means we're fighting them, if this means we're going to run into them, in any case, it's going to be interesting, to say the least, because we're not used to playing someone from the Enclave's perspective. We're used to playing someone who just is sort of thrown to the wasteland, you know, whatever, and has to figure all this bad guy, good guy stuff out for themselves. In Fallout 2, that got a little messy, but it still worked. We still saw, you know, this guy was starting out on the side of good if you played it and like as a good character, or this person was just, you know, evil and still took down the Enclave. Are we going to have the option of working with the Enclave? It's a possibility. We see in the power armor segment, where they are showing off the mods, that Enclave armor is present in the Boston Wasteland. So is Brotherhood armor, the T-51B and the T-45Ds. They're all here, along with some fancy new armor designs that our hero will be able to wear. Now, I'm not sure what impact the Future Shock is going to have on our hero here. At this segment of the gameplay demo, we do see that they see the nukes coming. They and their partner grab the baby and jet for Vault 111. But what happens to them afterwards? Well, there's a lot waiting in store for them in Boston. Not just your standard fare of mutants, monsters, and other raiders who want to tan your pelt, of course, but new enemies too. There's something called blood bugs, which look a lot like a sort of mutant mosquito. There's the more ursine Yaoguai showing up. Variants on things we know, like raiders and robots. Their super mutant behemoth is back by popular demand, and in case you didn't believe me, there it is. Deathclaws are back. There's a thing called the Mirelurk Queen, and synths are also here. Now, what are synths? I'm pretty sure they're androids that have escaped from the Institute and either run amok or the railroad got a hold of them and they've been spat out as something not so great. We get our standard fare of enemies back, but we get a lot of new faces too. How is our guy going to deal with this? Well, along with a lot of custom guns, he or she is going to probably cut a very bloody path through the wasteland. Custom armor is definitely going to help a lot dealing with this stuff, and it's going to make it a lot more fun for me personally. We all know those great moments when we hit that perfect song and we just rock out like crazy. There's nothing quite like that when you're playing a Fallout game and you just get to rock like that. And then, of course, you get killed by a Deathclaw. Yeah, that's embarrassing. But needless to say, everything won't be just fighting. We've covered the settlement dynamics. We've covered a bunch of the other stuff that's going to be going on. Now I think it's time we cover, you know, what's going on in the Boston Wasteland. This is a very unique location. I've been to Boston. I've grown up around Boston. So I know this is a place with a lot of potential, and I really want to see Fallout 4 deliver on a lot of this potential. Now, either getting around by vertibird or whatever, I'm sure you can manage it. But I really want to take a look at some of the stuff that has me really excited to see Boston as a Fallout setting. Right off of the bat, we can see that they've given Boston and the surrounding area the full Fallout treatment. Everything around here has got like the dead tree thing going on that we saw in Fallout 3, but my gosh, is it great to see some blue skies in a Fallout game that isn't New Vegas. I'm excited to see it. There's a lot of variations on where you are, so there might be some places that are more radiated than others. I'm wondering if Cambridge survived it all. I'm hoping it did, because that's always been a fun place to visit. Not sure what Fallout would have changed in Boston, but I do know that they did a lot of extensive work in Boston and the surrounding area to look around and get a good look at it. Which brings me to what we mentioned in the Fallout 4 trailer discussion. Zimmer mentioned that Boston was, or the Commonwealth actually, is now a quagmire of violence and despair. I can see that from some of the raider hideouts we get, from some of the action cuts we see. But are things really so bad? As we see here, Fort Fenway, and I'm going to call it that until the day I die, seems to be some kind of neutral bastion. It and Lansdowne Street have been turned into a bazaar of sorts for people to come and go as they please. I'm thinking Quincy Market would have been better since it was made for that originally. But in all seriousness, Boston, you've never looked more beautiful after an apocalypse. Last but not least, I want to talk about the brand spanking new PipBoy. It seems like a minor detail, but it's something I really want to mention, because it's clear they put a lot of work into this thing, so it deserves some recognition. It's been a while since we've seen a new PipBoy, since Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, but it does seem to have its own advantages. For one thing, this one is entirely animated itself. There are a lot of animated little bits in there. It's really come alive in its own right. And there are also mini games you can play. You can of course play holotapes, and some of those include games like the classic Red Menace. I'm sure we all remember playing that when we were growing up in the arcade.
Atom bomb baby, loaded with power, radioactive as a TV tower.
Also, VATS makes a return, and no longer does time stop when you need to aim. Instead, it slows down. Maybe this is to give you that absolutely perfect shot so you don't have to keep reloading in and out of the screen, or maybe it's just some new game mechanic to make things a little more fair and balanced. Either way, I think I can dig it. It seems like a different step, but I really do want to see how well it can work out.
Atom bomb baby.
Overall, Fallout 4 is promising to be one of the most ambitious releases yet we've seen in this franchise. It's going to step things up and change things a little. In New Vegas, we saw a little bit of innovation and a little bit of things done differently, but it was mostly just a revisit to Fallout's roots in a different setting. It wasn't really that much of a departure. This is a whole new ballgame. This is the sequel that Fallout fans have been waiting for since we first stepped into the Capital Wasteland. This is the game we've been waiting for, and I really hope it's going to deliver. They've had years to work on it, and come November, we'll see once and for all if the Boston Wasteland is somewhere where we want to be or not. I'm excited, and I can't wait to see you there. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Like, subscribe, comment if you think I missed something, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. This is your friendly neighborhood Doczilla, signing off.
She's just the way I want her to be, a million times harder than T.A.